You know who else's shit was super weird last night was that Andre the Giant doc we watched.
Oh my God, I loved every second of it.
Great, wasn't it?
I loved every second of it.
So good.
It was so amazing to me. What did you take away from that, though? Or did you know everything?
I did know everything. Yeah. I thought I did. And
right.
I was pleasantly surprised with the doc and who he was as a person. And the biggest takeaway that I had from the doc was how big he was physically to try to maneuver around the country through normal situations. Like the one that, because there was some heartbreaking quotes in there and things that happened and some anecdotes that the people were saying about him, which I was just like, oh my God. The one was traveling on the plane.
On the plane?
And he couldn't piss in a bathroom, so they had to pull a curtain up. He would piss in a bucket, and then they would dump the bucket out in the urinal. And that was his everyday life.
It was a really celebrated handicap. Like, that was a handicapped person that was, like, treated like a god, right?
Yeah.
But in his real life, you know, beds, chairs, restaurants, airplanes, bathrooms, like, literally everything was really hard for him to do.
Yeah.
Like someone in a wheelchair or something. You know, something that's like your everyday is a thing that you have to be like, okay, how do I go to the bathroom? How do I walk through this place? How do I blah, blah, blah?
Because his manager last night said that he couldn't get in cabs. And when I thought about it, I was just like, oh, you're right. Because I'm 6'3". And I joke about, dude, I'm a fucking giant and all that shit. I am a full foot smaller than him.
Yeah.
13 inches smaller. He was 7'4".
7'4", yeah.
Yeah. 7'5". Who knows? I'm a full 13 inches smaller, and he weighed 475. I am fucking 270 pounds smaller than that. So I can't imagine. Like, I have trouble when I get into cabs in New York, the ones that are the built-in walls already there. Mm-hmm. I have to sit at an angle. Just me personally. I don't. How does Andre the Giant do it?
Could not.
And watching him get into that car, holy fucking shit.
Holy shit. And they have to like shove the door closed, and he's just like, I think the whole time my thing was like, I can't believe like how surprised I was at like every shot of how big he was.
Yeah.
Like being like, oh my God. Like every time they showed something, I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Shit. Because you don't think of that. You're like, Andre the Giant. He was like super tall. He was like big, but crazy.
And how much he was putting down alcohol-wise was
look how
20
big he is.
20 bottles of wine. Crazy.
Metabolism.
Beers looked tiny in his hand. It was a Ric Flair. It was like, yeah, I was out with him and he drank 107 beers one night. It was just like
107. That's just him.
That's him.
The other thing I took away too was like, I knew from the very beginning that it was a condition, a disease.
Right.
So it's like this your pituitary gland is messed up, whatever. Everything grows. And to me, it was weird that it wasn't either diagnosed or they didn't think of it that way until way later in his life. So,
well, I thought of that today on the drive over, and he didn't get it until he was like, because they have normal pictures of him, so he didn't get it till like 16 or 17. And I was thinking about it. I had a year where I went to the doctor a couple times when I was growing. I grew 9 inches in 1 year, and my legs and my bones in my legs were so sore that I was asking my mom to take me into the doctor because I was in so much pain, and I was just going through this enormous growth spurt of 9 inches in 1 year, and I was in a lot of pain then. So I think when it started, because he was like 6'3" or something like that, like he was close to my height, and then all of that, the gigantism started. I think probably by the time they realized what was going on, that maybe, you know, because there is part of you that's like, shit, maybe he was just going to be a tall guy. I don't know when the gigantism sets in.
There's features. So like the way that your face looks, there's certain telltales. I don't know if it was because he was in a super small town. And like they were just like, oh, crazy. Like me personally, I'd be like, hey, doc, take a look at my kid. Is this fucking normal? He's like a baby like this. You know, he was starting to grow bigger than them before that. But it's 16 when you're
he still didn't look abnormal to me, where it was just like
not abnormal. But then once you go through puberty is when the hormones either make too much. It's like, do you know what I mean? So it will always hit at that time, hardcore. And it's just his face was the exact features of giantism condition or whatever. It's just that, again, it was a long time ago, small town. If he had been here like now, it would be like you would go to the doctor. They have ways of like holding it.
Right.
You don't reverse it, but you hold it kind of to where your hormones are steady. He did later in life get diagnosed really late.
Yes.
And they could have done something about it. And he said, I don't want to ruin my wrestling career.
Oh yeah, because they would have had to do surgery and all that other shit. I mean,
no, they would have. He would have been. You know, he didn't want it to be like, am I gonna get smaller, or is this like, you know what I mean? He didn't want to not be a giant. For his wrestling career.
He loved it that much. I was surprised at how much he loved wrestling that he didn't take just like or quit or retire early, or you know, because he lived on. And I found that cool. He lived on that farm that's in a small town in North Carolina.
Yeah.
Which makes sense because it's like, all right, great. You can finally be comfortable and walk around, do all normal shit. Yeah, you can have a bed the
size you need. Yeah. You can have chairs the size you need.
And at the height of it, he was making so much money. Why didn't you just take that money and retire and be comfortable? And when I mean comfortable, I mean physically comfortable, where it's just like, great, you don't have to travel. You don't have to go on planes. You don't have to go in cars. You don't have to do all that shit. But they said he loves, you know, wrestling so much that that's all he wanted to do. So I guess good on him. It sounded to me, at least from all of his friends and family, that he lived exactly the life he wanted to. So
yeah, it was hard to watch.
Who are we to judge?
It was hard to watch like the last fight because you could tell that he was in so much pain.
Right.
They were just like, man, it's one of those that you wanted to go out on top it sucks that they didn't let him do that actually, or make him do that.
I liked the WrestleMania 3 thing with Andre the Giant and Hulk Hogan, how they went over. Yeah. Hulk Hogan. You want to tell that story to the audience?
I was young.
How old were you?
Young.
Let's ballpark an age.
14.
Yeah. Still know who Hulk Hogan is.
I thought it was Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
I thought his last name
Hull first name, last name Kogan, Cogan. And as a child, you would call him Hulk Hogan.
Or you know how you would just call him Hogan? I would just say Kogan.
Kogan, yeah. Who corrected you for the first time and said, hey, it's not Hulk Hogan?
My family wasn't into it either. It must have just been like a lot of people being like, you know, like, okay, loser.
So I'm like, nobody ever corrected you?
You know, Kogan.
Yeah.
No, I don't know.
Like you were making fun of it? Oh, God, classic James.
Anyways.
Hulk Hogan.
So you liked that one? I thought that one was sad.
No.
Because he didn't want to do it.
He did want to do it.
He didn't want to be the fucking bad guy.
No, but for the sport of wrestling, that when Hogan... oh, God. Now I'm in your world.
Kogan.
Now I'm in the Kogan world with you now. Fuck you,
so
James.
What did Kogan do?
When Hulk Hogan picked up Andre the Giant and body slammed him, to me, that was the biggest moment in wrestling history. Mm-hmm. I didn't know anything of any backstory of why that happened. I thought it was staged.
Such an inspirational scene, too, in the documentary.
The way they scored it.
Oh, so good. I was crying.
Yeah. And when they fired Bill Simmons created those 30 for 30s over at ESPN, and he signed that deal with HBO. Part of the deal was, hey, man, you're going to start doing sports documentaries for us. And that was, I believe, the first one out of the gate. And fuck, man, it was good.
God damn, if that little rat, little weasel can't make awesome fucking sports docs, right?
I mean, look, he's not the one that's doing it. He came up with the idea for it. So good on him, I guess. But fuck, man, it was incredible.
So good.
That was incredible. And if that's what's to come, HBO is going to be amazing.